Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to our platform, CounterAction. This is, I believe, episode 11, and today is just me. So, as you guys have been able to tell, summer has been crazy busy for myself and for Jonathan, and so I've been kind of doing more things by myself, and Jonathan will probably be doing some on his own as well coming up. So, we appreciate you guys for checking us in. And today, I kind of thought this one is not necessarily veteran specific only, but I do think there's perhaps some things we are kind of taught as we are in that would make what I'm going to talking about a little bit perhaps more challenging, and hopefully this is more useful. So we're kind of talking about hard stuff. When crap hits the fan, what should you do? So that's going to be, I guess, kind of the topic. I've been going through a lot of really hard stuff. I think I'll share just a little bit of it, like broad strokes of what it is. 'Cause I'm not sure I'm ready for like all the details to be out there yet, and I'm not sure that the other party involved to be that ready for it yet either. But I'll give some broad strokes that way. At the very least, I'm going through something kind of hard, and I'm having to try and use all this stuff myself. So if you guys enjoy this kind of stuff, make sure you hit subscribe if you want to be a part of supporting a platform that wants to destigmatize the different things that go around, especially with veterans and service members, as well as being a part of a platform that's wanting to bring folks together through some mutual understanding that's done through conversation. Make sure you all subscribe, follow, download. We're on YouTube, Amazon, Spotify, Google, Apple, Stitcher, Pandora, and I think there's a couple of other ones. We have some links for the bigger ones in our description boxes. So if you're on YouTube, subscribe. If you're on platforms, follow. If you're able to, like, and also comment down below. And of course, if you have any input, if you want to share with us, you can always comment, or you can send us an email at counteraction 2022 at gmail.com, or you can follow us on Twitter. It's at CounterAction15. Haven't figured out how to make it just at CounterAction, so it's at CounterAction15. All that stuff is also in the description box. All right, so hard stuff. All right, so lots of us, lots of people. Life is hard. I was with a group of guys the other night, and one of them goes, "Hey, so if you can just kind of get through your head, life is easy if you can understand this, and life is hard." I was like, that kind of makes sense. Like when I went through boot camp, I thought it was going to be easy. Worst experience of my life. I went to OCS about 5-6 years later, expected it to absolutely kick my teeth in. Wasn't that bad. I ended up getting hurt and not graduating, but like the point that I got to, I was like, this really isn't that big of a deal. And I think it's because I had just assumed that everything was going to be hard. So I think that's probably a good way for all of us to try and approach stuff. Is life sucks. Life's going to be hard. Not in a way of like you should just get it over with, like get over life, but just realize it's going to be hard. And once you realize that, maybe it'll be a little bit easier. And I'm having to practice this all myself. All right. So what am I going through? In very broad strokes, my wife and I had to separate for a little bit. We both were not the healthiest person to each other. It wasn't having anything to do with not caring for the other person. In fact, we probably cared maybe almost too much. It was just kind of a sequence of events had happened. I was certainly at fault for stuff. My wife is certainly at fault for stuff. We're both working on it. We're both like, my gosh, we can't believe we did this kinds of things to each other. And we're going from there. And obviously, it sucks. It's been about getting close to a month and a half, I think. Well, maybe more like 5-6 weeks is probably more what it is. Since we had to separate, I've moved to a different state. I've gotten a different job. I'm going to be a teacher now, and she's doing her own thing, and we're both working what we can to get back together. And what's been especially tough, besides the whole like not actually being there, is we're kind of having to start over a little bit. It's kind of weird, being married, like having the ring, the certificate, but to some degree, we're like dating again. It's odd. So, anyways, the point is that it's hard. This is by far the hardest thing I have ever had to do so far. I know there were times where I was like, man, it'd be so much easier if we just went complete Splitsville. But that's not what either one of us actually wants. That was just kind of like, hey, I'm failing at dealing with something hard. That would be easier. So I figure, hey, like we as veterans and stuff, we tend to have some extra challenges, right? Like we handle things a little bit different. Now that could come out different with work. Like you might be more prone to, I don't know, tell your boss like what you really think. That could be something that you're more prone to doing. In a relationship, I know for me, I kind of tended to use Marine Corps coping stuff, which was like, don't talk about it, or shut the other person out because that would just be easier than saying that, hey, I need some help, that kind of thing, and that does no one any good. So once you're in these kind of hard spots, there's some stuff you can probably do to try to get out. And I think the first thing, at least so far for me, has been to try and realize at least where I could have done better. It'd be really easy to be like, hey, wife, you had all the issues, and maybe one day we'll talk more in detail. But that's something that she and I definitely would have to talk about first and agree upon. But I could have been like, hey, you had all the issues. Screw you. You fix everything. And then been like, I was perfect. And that would have certainly been easier. But, it's not necessarily true. Nor is that the best way to get through healing stuff, because you can't really grow or whatever if you don't, admit that, hey, I screwed up. Here's some stuff I can work on. And then you're kind of probably more prone to do this again. So that's kind of what I want you guys more to think about is if you're going through something hard, don't just like give up. That's kind of the easier thing, I mean, sometimes it feels like not being alive is certainly way easier than being alive, and that's probably true. But that's definitely not a good option. So if you're ever in those kinds of spots, make sure you're calling the crisis line. You could hit us up. We'll do our best to help out. We have a Discord with some folks that try to, at the very least, be there when they can to support each other. And you got folks around you at the very least. They might not know you, but we're gonna be like, hey, let's talk this out. So you gotta be willing to admit, like, hey, here's some stuff I could do better. And this applies really to everything. Work, like if you get chewed out at work, it can be really easy to feel like, hey, I was a combat machine gunner in Iraq. Like this is ridiculous. Now I'm being chewed out by a 40-year-old for a spreadsheet, and like I could see that being a little disheartening. Or maybe with your spouse, you feel like, well, I do all the X, Y, and Z, and like the list of hard stuff can go on. But if you are able to be like, hey, here's some stuff I can do better, and kind of learn from that, that will ultimately help everything in life. And the reason why I'm kind of bringing this up more on the veteran channel is because I think we are taught a lot to not think that we need to change stuff. I know fellas from when I was in that would get into fist fights with people, and they were like, I don't need to change how I am. They were just being ridiculous. And I think we've all, probably been that kind of an attitude at one point or another, and it doesn't help out anybody. So anyways, that's kind of, I just thought we just share a little bit about maybe some hard stuff, some things to try and get through it. I'd also encourage positive thoughts. Maybe set yourself up with a VA therapist. They have all kinds of apps, so even if you can't see a therapist soon, you can probably call or like ask us, and we can be like, hey, like search for these apps X, Y, and Z. They're free, and they might help you out with like meditation techniques, calming down, positive thinking, stuff like that. A lot of things gotta be positive, right? I hate so much that I'm having to more or less start over. Like I'm dating my wife, because a lot of me is like, hey, you already put in that time and effort. You gotta do it again. That's stupid. Like, we're trying to do a new thing and learn, so that you gotta do it. Like, think about the end game. And so that's like the last thing I think I would want to leave y'all vets with. Like, it's real easy to be focused on the here and now. What would solve the solutions now? I know I had some anxiety and that kind of thing, because I was like, well, if she wants to be with me, I want to be with her. Like, we both hate it, so like, why not be together? Because that's clearly the solution, but that's probably not the right solution, at least not right now. So sometimes you gotta play the long game, and I guess to some degree, I might be making this a little bit for myself to try and watch or listen to later when I'm getting real antsy and worked up. But anyways, learning about myself, it's great. It's great. So hopefully this kind of gives some ideas. Like if you're going through some hard stuff, you're not alone. there's some things you can do. You could, again, like meditate. You can use these apps. You think about the long game, like what are you working for? Try to think about others. Try to get busy, get involved with social folks. Talk to people about what's going on, especially those that care about you, or like therapists, or all of the above. And don't keep that stuff all inside. And you can do some preventative things, like you should be talking to your spouse if there's something that's really bothering you, or your significant other, whoever it is, and let them know, instead of letting stuff kind of build up and then you figure out your own ways of like self-medicating or whatever it might be to try and get through said thing. And hopefully y'all can avoid what I am in, because it's awful. Like, we message each other, we're like, I love you, I like all this other stuff, and it's no fun. I know she doesn't like it. I know I don't like it. So hopefully sharing some of, like, hey, I'm going through something hard. Here's kind of what I'm trying to do. Like, I'm hanging out with people all the time. I'm trying to stay busy. I can't wait for my new job to start, so that way I'm not just spending as much time at home, or just, thinking about what I could be doing, that kind of thing. And hopefully it all goes great. I appreciate you all so much for watching. If you want to share some support, that'd be swell. This is not an easy time for my wife or I. She was actually on an episode on this show earlier, a few back, along with Jonathan's wife. I'm pretty confident we're gonna work it out. It's just really sucks in the meantime being away. Like, I'm living in my parents' basement right now. Like, I'm a Generation Z meme. 28 and living in a parent, but hey, at least I'm trying to work, save money, and all that good stuff. All right, thank you guys all so much for watching. I appreciate it. Have a great week. Make sure you email us. Thanks for being a part of the CounterAction, and we'll catch you all next time.